The day the silent alien girl whispered my name, the station alarms went dead, and everyone I loved became a liability. I was elbow-deep in a fusion coupler when it happened, grease on my knuckles, the hum of Dock 9 rattling my teeth. Helios Station never slept. It only groaned and begged to be kept alive by men like me. Men who knew which bolt to loosen when the lights flickered and which prayer to mutter when the gravity hiccuped. That was when I heard her voice. Cal. One word. Soft. Impossible. I froze. Tools clattered. The coupler kept humming, indifferent to miracles. I turned slowly, heart banging against my ribs like it wanted out. She stood where she always stood, by the coolant tanks, hands folded, eyes reflecting the station's cold blue glow. The girl they called the silent asset. The alien child who had never spoken since the day she was delivered in a sealed obsidian cradle and stamped with a red sigil. And uncommunicative. Do not engage. But she had spoken. And she had said my name. None of us were prepared for the truth. They called her Lyra in the reports, though I doubted that was her real name. She looked human at a glance, small frame, dark hair, too still posture, but her eyes were wrong. Too deep. Like windows into a night sky without stars. For 3 years she never made a sound. Scientists tried everything. Neural taps. Quantum linguistics. Empathy engines. Nothing. She didn't cry. Didn't laugh. Didn't scream when they prodded her with machines built to peel secrets from gods. Then one day, during a station-wide power failure, she wandered into Dock 9. Into my life. I was just a mechanic. No clearance. No theories about first contact. Just a widower with a toolbox and a kid back on Earth I barely got to see. Lyra would sit nearby while I worked, watching my hands like they were telling stories. I never spoke to her. Not really. I just worked. But that was only the beginning. They warned me not to get attached. Director Voss himself cornered me in the transit ring, his voice smooth as vacuum. Your maintenance called her. She is not a person. She is an interface. I nodded. What? Went back to Dock 9. Because sometimes, when the station dimmed and the stars burned cold beyond the viewport, I felt like she was listening. And then she said my name. What did you hear? Security Chief Han demanded as they dragged me into debriefing. The room was all white light and humming walls, designed to make you confess things you didn't even know you were hiding. I thought I heard her, I said. My mouth was dry. Probably a stress hallucination. Han's eyes flicked to the observation window. To where Lyra stood, calm as ever, surrounded by men with weapons they pretended not to aim at a child. She doesn't speak, Han said. That's the only constant in this entire damn project. I wanted to believe him. But later that night, as I lay in my bunk staring at the flickering ceiling, her voice came again, inside my head this time. You fix what is broken. I sat bolt upright, breath ragged. What I saw next changed everything. The dreams started after that. Not dreams. Memories. Cities folded like origami under violet skies. Machines grown, not built. Beings of light arguing about whether mercy was a defect or an upgrade. And always, a child at the center of it all, silent and watching as worlds decided their own extinction. I stopped sleeping. Started shaking. And Lyra, she smiled. The first time she smiled, the station went into lockdown. A scientist screamed. Someone dropped a tray. Director Voss's face went pale as bone. Because the silent asset wasn't supposed to emote. That was when they told me the truth. Lyra wasn't mute. She was a governor. Her species, the Aurelian continuum, didn't conquer worlds. They audited them. Measured violence. Calculated compassion. When a civilization reached a certain threshold, the continuum sent an observer. A child-shaped failsafe. If the observer found empathy, the species was allowed to ascend. If not, the dreams showed me the rest. Stars going dark. I threw up in the sanitation bay while Voss talked about necessary outcomes and galactic equilibrium. And her voice. I demanded. Why me? Voss's lips thinned. Because she chose you. None of us were prepared for that answer. Lyra started talking to me after that. Not aloud. Never where sensors could hear. Only in the quiet spaces between heartbeats. You lost your mate, she said once as I repaired a cracked conduit. You did not choose hatred. I didn't choose anything, I muttered. I just kept breathing. That is a choice. Every conversation felt like a test I didn't know I was taking. Every kindness weighed. Every moment of anger recorded. Then the mid-story rehook hit like a meteor. I discovered the countdown. Buried deep in Helios Station's core was a device older than humanity's first cities. A quantum verdict engine keyed to Lyra's neural state. When it reached 0, it would transmit a single verdict pulse across known space. Pass or fail. And the timer was accelerating. Because Lyra was speaking. Because she was bonding. Because the system interpreted human connection as data contamination. Wait. This is not what I expected. They planned to erase her. Wipe her mind. Reset the observer. And I was the variable that needed to be removed. Security came for me during a shift change. I barely escaped, ducking through maintenance shafts I'd crawled since my first day. Alarms howled. Gravity stuttered. Lyra walked beside me barefoot, unafraid. If they silence me, she said, your species will be judged incomplete. Then we don't let them, I said. My voice broke. I'll get you out. She stopped. Looked at me with those endless eyes. If I leave, the verdict defaults to extinction. The corridor shook. Explosions bloomed like silent flowers beyond the hall. I laughed then. A harsh, broken sound. So that's it? Either I lose you or everyone dies. Human phrasing is inefficient, she replied gently. But yes, that was my lowest point. I thought of my daughter on Earth. Of the promise I'd made at my wife's grave. Of all the small, stupid kindnesses humans did every day without thinking they mattered. I won't let you be alone, I said. We went to the core. Director Voss was waiting, flanked by guards and the humming verdict engine. Step away from the asset, Calder, he said. History will thank you. Lyra walked forward instead. For the first time she spoke aloud. The sound of her voice echoed through metal and marrow alike. No. Systems crashed. Guards dropped to their knees, hands over ears, not in pain, but in awe. She turned to me. Your species is loud, violent, irrational, she said. But you love without algorithms. You repair without reward. You grieve and continue. The countdown hit 0. The engine pulsed. For a breathless moment, the universe held still. Then the verdict came. Not a word. A doorway. Across the stars, lights ignited. Ancient gates unfolded. The continuum answered, not with annihilation but invitation. Lyra sagged. I caught her. Director Voss stared, hollow-eyed, as his grand calculus collapsed. What now? I whispered. She smiled, small and tired.